Right, welcome to Matthew's Blueprint for Britain with me, Matthew Freeman, and tonight I am joined by the one, the only, someone who I know very, very well from the Twitter world, X world, whatever we want to call it now. Never actually met face to face, but you don't meet face to face anymore. You meet over the Zoom and the calls. It is Lee Harris. How are you, Lee?
I'm very well, and thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you. I'm actually, this is sort of like a mini weird celebrity moment for me because I've been following you for years and years and years and years. And so actually to be able to get you onto my podcast is a really exciting thing for me. I mean, how's everything going? How's your week been? Been busy? How's everything going?
Yeah, it's been a good week. Well, I don't think political commentators can complain at the moment about the news cycle. That's for sure. There's always
It is
something happening.
popcorn every day.
Exactly. Problem is, it is quite depressing permanently. But I find that you can do two things with that information. You can let it overwhelm you and just
Mm,
become permanently depressed, or you can use it to give you the enthusiasm to fight against it. And I'm normally, as you can probably tell, in that camp. But you do.
yeah.
I think sometimes you do have to step away now and again for at least 24 hours. Otherwise, it will send you balmy. But it's certainly good. It's certainly good news to be a political commentator at the moment. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that.
I mean, absolutely. Life is 24/7 at the moment with
Yeah.
the changes, the U-turns, the flip-flops, which I'll always have. They're perfect
Mm.
with this government. Right, look, let's dive straight into it. This
Do it.
week, biggest story of the week, in my opinion, is the fact that Shabana Mahmood has effectively joined Reform's policy platform, it seems. I mean, she announced these immigration reforms that, I mean, a lot of the Labour backbenchers weren't even in favour of,
Mm.
absolutely talking the same line as Reform, supported by Nigel Farage, supported by Kemi Badenoch, these
Yeah.
announcements. Um, is Shabana Mahmood rolling out the turquoise carpet and going to cross the floor, or do you think this is lip service to the backbenchers and the hemorrhaging Labour voters?
It is lip service without doubt. That's my judgment. There is absolutely no way. So you've got to bear in mind that the history of Shabama Mahmood
Mm,
when she was in opposition, and there are certain things I think that I just can't get away from in terms of how you build a picture of someone now. And don't get me wrong, I've always been of the view as well, by the way, that people can change their views. I just have not judged this as one
okay.
of those because of other events. So let's just strip this back very quickly. Shabana Mahmood signed a letter along with a lot of other MPs, I think, including Keir Starmer, to ground a plane full of dangerous criminals that
I
we were
remember
deporting.
blocking
Yeah,
the flight literally as it was on the runway.
it was on the runway, and they weren't like, okay. So let's get this clear. They weren't. That wasn't the direct result, that letter, but it certainly contributed
Yeah.
to grounding that plane without a doubt. It contributed. Now on that plane were some very dangerous criminals, and one of them went on to murder someone. So that's a death that potentially might not have happened if Shabana
Yeah.
Mahmood and Keir Starmer had not have signed that document. We've seen her in Greece. There's been clips of her where migrants are arriving in Greece, welcoming them into Greece. This is not her at all. These new measures are not her. She is very much a progressive left wing
Mm,
person, and I'm not buying all of these left wing commentators who are saying, actually, give her time. She's more right wing than others. Well, I'm not buying that just yet. And part of the reason why I'm not buying that is because of two things predominantly. Number one, she's probably not going to get it through in the way that she wants it to. Although they do. It would take quite a few MPs to harpoon this. I think around
mm.
80 or
But we
something
we
like that.
saw it with the welfare reforms,
Yeah.
very minor welfare reforms, and it was 80 to 100 Labour backbenchers went not a blooming chance. They
Yeah,
pulled it
and
in the end.
if they're going to do that over welfare, this is to me. I think they probably feel just as passionate, if not more passionate,
Yeah.
about immigration. So there's that. Is she doing this knowing that that's going to happen? It's just not getting through. Even if she does get that through, there is a problem fundamentally with the fact that we are still in the ECHR, and
Yeah.
they are
Still not
fully,
leaving the
fully
ECHR.
exactly. They fully committed. They have not reneged on that commitment at all to remain in the ECHR, no matter what. So it doesn't really matter what she says or does. It's not going to solve anything. And actually, there's a third theory, which I also think is pretty sound.
Mm.
This is increased. This is more immigration via the back door, with creating all these legal routes, etc. Now, I've always had a view on this that if you are when people say, we haven't got any open routes, when these leftists say, we need more legal routes, etc., what they're really saying, what that translates to is we must have permanently open borders. We must not have a border policy that prevents people coming into the country when we don't want them to. So we've had a very long history in this country, as you well know, of being very welcoming and opening to refugees, and that is the right thing to do. The problem is it's been completely abused. The whole system's broken down, and we've also had a long history of cherry picking, and I mean
Yeah.
that in the
We pick
nicest
who?
possible way. Yeah, we cherry pick. So if you look back at the Home Office documents, you can see that we had a very specific Afghan scheme a while ago. I think there's two of them. I'm not talking about the one that was done via the Afghan interpreters, although
Yeah.
it might be the same one. There was actually another one, and there was another one with Syria as well. When it all kicked off with Assad.
And we've seen similar schemes when it came to Hong Kong as well.
Yep, yep,
All these
and
schemes where
Ukraine.
we decide we're going to give out, 50,000 visas or 100,000 passes. We decide what the number is and
Yep,
then allocate them on a needs basis. Whereas at the moment, we've just got boats coming over of doctors and nurses, if you listen to the Green Party,
yeah.
and they get free stay in a hotel. Well, it's not free because it's paid for by the British taxpayers.
Exactly. So we've always been able to cherry pick, and what that seems to kind of merged into over the years is we have to all of a sudden have permanently open borders to refugees. No country can do that. There are millions and millions of people who are displaced over the world. We cannot have a permanent open door to people just to come in willy-nilly, without any documentation, without any
And with
checks.
no idea who these people are. I've always said, why on earth are they dropping their documents into the channel as they come across? I would make it, if you turn up with no documents, it's an automatic refusal, back over you go.
Yeah,
Because if you can't prove who the heck you are, I mean, look, we've had convicted terrorists come across, claim asylum, and then get granted asylum,
yeah,
even though we find this out. We've had convicted criminals come over, say that they are from XYZ country, they've experienced all this horrible, horrible life, and then only once they get granted asylum or leave to remain or anything like that, do they finally come clean about who they are, what they are, and who they want to bring over with them. I mean,
exactly.
this is so unchecked. It is the first job of any government is to protect our borders, and we're not even protecting them. We're willing to open them further.
Yeah, and there's only one reason why. If I was a refugee from Syria, I'd want to keep my details, to prove that I'm from a country that is currently
Mm.
from war. The point is if you are from Syria, there are routes that you can go through to get to the nearest country to be, so you're staying close to your country to get back. But the point of all of this is she's opening more of these legal routes to
Yeah.
essentially, I think, they haven't explicitly said this, but to essentially have this kind of permanent open border to refugees. If that's because what she's saying is nothing new, right? We've always been able to cherry pick and we've always done that. So what is the intention? And there's one last thing that I'd say on this, which I
Mm.
think is still very relevant. It is a bit of a coincidence that Shabana Mahmood is mentioning this at a time when Keir Starmer is at his weakest. We
Mm.
have leadership challenges coming left, right, and centre. I would not be surprised if this is a calculated political move, for her to have a run at the leadership as well.
Really?
It's always the quieter ones. So we've had announcements from Angela Rayner.
Ready for Rayner, Wes for leader. So what are we
That's
doing?
it.
Make it
Andy
Mahmood.
Burnham. But they also say those who wield the knife
Mm.
never wear the crown, which would obviously be Andy Burnham out of the way. I don't think he's in the running anymore. And if he is, obviously he either has to be made a lord or an MP to actually become to become leader of the party or prime minister in the future. Anyway, so I think Andy Burnham's probably not in play.
Mm.
But either way, this could be another move by Shabana Mahmood to talk tough and sound prime ministerial. So no, all in all, I don't believe it. It will never happen. She's
Yeah.
talking out of two faces. She's a massive hypocrite.
Oh,
I
I've
do.
seen those videos of her at the camp saying, these are what you need to claim when you step on British soil. These are the
Yeah,
laws. These are the rights you need to say have been broken. Absolutely. I'm interested by that idea that maybe we're going to, make it Mahmood or something is her campaign slogan. That's interesting because I would not think she'd be the natural go-to for Labour. I think Angela Rayner is the obvious backbench choice of a left winger. and then you've got Wes Streeting and Andy Burnham are the three that everyone's talking about. I'd
Mm.
be surprised if Shabana Mahmood becomes the Labour leader,
I
because
wouldn't.
I think this would have done some damage. I think this would have done damage for a lot of the core Labour voters to say, no, this isn't what Labour Party ethics are about.
That's a fair point. Although I think she's showing some authority. I was going to say authoritarianism, but that's not really the right word. She's showing some authority, which I think is what a leader requires. So she's
Yeah.
showing a leadership trait, and I think it's convenient for. And do I think someone that is currently the Home Secretary has plans to become Prime Minister? Absolutely, of course I do.
They
So
all probably
I
think they
think
could
she's
do,
one
you know.
exactly. I think she's one to watch. I think she's definitely up for the leadership. But none of so I just think that it's all rubbish. It's all complete nonsense. And I think like the Conservatives, she knows that even if she got it to a certain point, the ECHR will stop them, and then
Yep.
they will just be able to blame the ECHR. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll use that as an excuse to say maybe we'll use lead the ECHR and just
Wow.
not do it. I just don't believe a single word that's coming out. But if you'd ask me, do I like what she's saying? Well, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
there should never be a time where Shabana Mahmood and the Labour Party are saying immigration policies that people like us agree with.
Oh, exactly. And, what she's saying, let's be honest, it's not groundbreaking stuff. We all know exactly that's the thing about
We want
immigration,
it
right?
done. We need a politician to actually do it, though.
Exactly. One thing about the immigration debate in this country is the one thing is not ambiguous. What is very clear is exactly how you resolve it. We all know exactly the steps that we need to take to resolve this immigration problem, both in terms of how you stop the boats. Everyone knows how we do that. There's a very clear plan on basically how any government will be able to do that. And we know in terms of the long term what tweaks you would need to make to ILR and all these other things to make it so it's fair and back. Because what we've got at the moment is absolutely crazy. It's not even remotely normal. So everybody knows. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh wow, these are really great ideas by the Labour Party. No, she's just literally repeating normal stuff
Yep.
that normal countries should do.
They think I think Labour think we're stupid. I think Labour think the public are stupid,
They do.
and they can make one or two press conferences and one or two speeches in the chamber talking tough about immigration and expect the country just go, oh, fantastic, oh, Labour have, oh, brilliant. I think they think we're stupid, and what we've always seen is the public are not fools. The British electorate are not fools in this country.
I believe that's what I was just about to say. Is I believe that the public, it won't wash with the public. You're not going to find someone who's decided that they're not going to vote Labour anymore for those reasons. Going, oh wow, oh maybe they've changed their minds. Of course they're not. That's not going to happen. The only thing that this will do is maybe impress a few of the kind of Blairite, Labour, blue Labour, what they call it, blue Labour or whatever.
Yeah.
It will impress a few of them because they will be saying, like the Morgan McSweeney strategy, that we need to try and out reform. So it might impress a few of them. It may even sway maybe a few people who have been thinking about voting reform but wanted stronger immigration in the red wall. Do I think it's going to make any difference to the red wall? No, the red wall is completely gone, and reform are going to clear up all the way through that red wall. So yeah, I almost it's a nothing burger.
Yeah. Now, speaking of good policies, we've got the budget coming up this week. What on earth is going to be happening? I mean, frankly, this budget has been debriefed, briefed, cross-briefed, and broken apart briefed all across the media for the last however many months. Every policy under the sun's been thrown out there, see what the public think, and then quickly taken back. None of us know what Labour are going to do at this budget. Rachel from accounts, frankly, doesn't even have any idea. She'll do whatever the civil service tells her.
She's not in control. Yeah, she's not in control.
Absolutely. So do you have any idea what's going to be in this budget on Wednesday? And if not, what do you think Rachel Reeves is going to do?
I think it's going to be a disaster, no matter what they're doing.
That's a given. We know that.
I honestly, it's hard to say. Look, obviously taxes are going to be raised, but I think I don't know. I'm assuming from these U-turns and policy announcements and the complete chaos that's happening in Number 10, they're probably going to pick the least worst option, obviously. Because the other thing that we've got to bear in mind, and I'm not sure whether this will take account in their thinking in the budget, possibly, But there is rumours that if this budget is bad enough, and it's bad, which it will be, and he gets annihilated in the press, this could potentially be the Keir Starmer's first exit point.
Good.
So shortly after the budget, I've seen a couple of people say this. I think it's less likely, but there is a possibility this budget could end him. So I think we're going to see tax thresholds frozen, and they're going to dress that up as we're not raising income tax, we're not raising VAT or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's the more likely scenario. Do I think that they have the political capital to raise income tax? Yes, because they've got literally nothing else to lose, right? Yep. Am I going to see the polls get any better or worse because they've raised VAT? They can't get much worse for the Labour Party. I mean,
that's the thing. Labour have such a majority that the Conservative Party never use. I mean, Labour have a bigger majority. Part of the argument is, do you know what? Change everything. Change the entire tax system in the UK. Change the tax laws. Rip it up. Make something completely fresh. This is the opportunity to do it. The irony is that if they were to do it, they'd probably come up with an even worse blooming system. I don't know where Labour get the idea that they can drip feed this out beforehand, spook the market, stop anybody wanting to invest anything in this country, and then obviously we'll get the announcement. I like to think that actually you would plan this budget long in advance. You know what you're going to announce, know what the impact it's going to have, and then go out to the market and tell them.
Yeah, I mean, Rachel Reeves has already messed up the economy from her first budget. Do I think that she's got the mindset to adjust, to understand all of a sudden what the Laffer curve is, and to readjust her policies so it becomes more sensible? Of course not. No. So, one of the biggest things that bugs me about this, right, is she knows she knew, she was told, she was mansplained exactly what would happen if she, increased spending and, raised taxes. And it happened, right? So there's less money going to the Treasury.
She blames everything. Brexit, everything from the past. Nearly 10 years ago now, Brexit was. Frankly, in my mind, I'm amazed she's not blamed like the Battle of Hastings or something.
Well, they did. I think they went back to Keir Starmer in that car crash interview with Beth Rigby, which I enjoyed thoroughly. Yeah. He did go back to 2008. He blamed the financial crash.
Who was 2008? In 2008? Just remind me which political party.
Absolutely bonkers. But, what frustrates me the most about this, right, is there is probably things you could do differently. In fact, there is definitely things you can do differently in terms of cutting spending. But it's almost like it's not in their thinking, right? So I've literally seen, like we all have, right? I've seen Labour ministers go onto news programmes and have a debate with someone like their counterpart on the Conservative Party, and literally say in public, in front of the public, to this person, what else would you cut then? As if to say, there is nothing else to cut. We've cut everything, and yet we're spending billions on net zero. We're giving billions to people abroad. We're spending north of 5 billion a year or something on welfare and stuff for foreign nationals.
You've got the Chagos deal. You've got all these sort of, the
Chagos Island.
Even just looking at things like the COVID inquiry, £200 million that's cost to tell us what we already know. There's all different things that they could do to cut spending. But as you said, it's never cut spending. We just have to raise taxes more and more.
Yeah, they're ideologically opposed. Honestly, it makes me shout at the telly because I'm like, why would you say that we don't know what else to cut when you're literally spending money, taxpayers' money on stuff that is no benefit to the UK at all and could be cut? And of course, you've got other ways to stimulate the economy. They refuse, while Ed Miliband's there, there's absolutely no way we can stimulate the economy with energy. And, we have some of the highest energy. As long as that stays, as long as we have some of the highest energy costs in the world, we're screwed. Right? We are literally screwed. And we've got the North Sea, which I believe they just found another untapped oil well with 50 to 70.
No. We didn't find that oil well. We were searching in that area before Ed Miliband cancelled the contract, and I think it was Norway found it 2 weeks later. So we don't get any of that. Norway get all of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, effectively, it's still our oil.
You couldn't write this. Literally, Labour do not know what they're doing, yet they had so long to prepare in opposition to come in with a plan.
So I think. I mean, I run a business. as a
Well, that makes
director.
you more experienced than anyone in the Labour cabinet, I believe.
Exactly, yeah, and Rachel Reeves, yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, she only
You know,
knows how to run accounts.
yeah, and it's been very. I talk to a lot of businesses as well. My business does well when other businesses do well. My
Mm,
business doesn't do so well when other businesses don't do so well. So I'm quite tapped into, certainly around my local area,
yeah.
and you could argue London, of what's going on. Everyone is skint.
Yeah.
Everyone is holding back spending. We haven't even had Angela Rayner's horrific jobs and
Oh,
employment thing come in, right? So when the first budget was done, they had a round table with all the big companies in the UK, and they all said to Rachel Reeves point blank. So I've seen the notes of it. They said, if you cannot at this stage raise national insurance for employers, it's going to mean that we employ less people.
yeah.
It's going to have a knock-on effect to working people. It is not a good thing. She's done it. She did it anyway. This time they've gone up to her and they've said, you can't tax us anymore, because look at what happened. And what they said happened is happened. So the PAYE take for the Treasury is massively down because
Yeah.
people are getting that, and they haven't even started to implement Angela Rayner's new. I mean, I was talking to a director last week about this very specifically. I asked her how she was finding it after having the increased national insurance bill. She's found it crippling. And now she's about to find, she's recruiting at the moment. She needs more staff, but she's panicking because she's trying to do this quickly before these new measures come in.
Cool.
Because the moment she employs someone, she can't sack them if they're rubbish. She's not like that. She's a very, very good judge of character. This person, but even she has employed people in the past which she's needed to get
But
rid of
also
in a couple of months.
that's part of it. People change once they enter a role, once they get responsibilities. I mean, the best example is the fact that this Labour government came in promising how they would be, but if I was going to be employing them, I wouldn't have any of them by now.
Mm,
I'd want to sack the whole
mm.
lot of them.
Yeah.
Very briefly, do you think the media particularly is changing on Labour? You talked about the Beth Rigby interview. Do you think Labour's time with the media, where they've been allowed off the hook, they've had a bit of time, all that soft love, do you think the media is starting to turn on Labour?
I think, and this is obviously a complete guess, well, slightly educated after people I've spoken to, I think the media haven't given up on Labour. Far from it. Far from it.
Really?
I think that the media have given up specifically on Keir Starmer,
Mm,
and they believe that it's expedient or it's a good thing to get rid of him for Labour's benefit as quickly as possible. That's the calculation I believe they've
that
made.
makes
And
sense.
I think Beth Rigby is good friends with Angela Rayner, which we know.
Yes.
And I think that basically what's happened in the last few days is they've been given the green light to absolutely go for it with Keir
Wow.
Starmer. We all know that they talk. We all know that there is a direct line between Beth Rigby, Angela Rayner, Wes Streeting. There are with people at GB News and ministers and other people as well. I know that for a fact. So there is, of course, you have sources and people talking within media. And I think that's what's happened. I think now, because of the consistency of the polling, his personal poll ratings, Keir
Mm,
Starmer, are the worst in recorded. Labour's poll ratings, they all know that it's inevitable at the moment that they're all going to lose their seats and Labour is a single term government unless they
yeah.
try something different. So my assumption is the BBC, Sky News, ITV, you will all see them now. Basically, the gloves are off with Keir Starmer,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
and I believe that I don't think for 1 minute they've all of a sudden turned into Tories. I don't think that for 1 minute. This is look at the BBC. The BBC is without a doubt still has the mindset of a left wing progressive kind
Yeah.
of mindset. That's why they edited Trump's footage. That's what their mindset. That's why they've taken their position on Gaza. It's the same with Sky News, even more so in certain subjects. So there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that is what's happened. This isn't
I can,
about
now you say that, I can really, really see that the
yeah,
media going, we're going to get rid of Keir to give Labour the best chance possible. And it's true, if Keir
yeah,
goes at like Christmas or January, February, or maybe the May locals next year, they still have plenty of time to turn this around with a new leader and start completely afresh. No,
exactly.
I'm going to keep a note. I'm going to remember this, and let's see what happens come May next year.
Well,
I think
you
that's a
can see it
really,
now, right?
really good shout.
just imagine for 1 minute from a Sky News perspective that you're watching Beth Rigby. Keir Starmer's just resigned, and there's a leadership contest, and say we're watching Beth Rigby announce who the winner is, and it's Angela Rayner. You can see it now, right? You can see her saying this is the first female prime
Labour
minister for the
leader,
Labour.
first working class leader to have
Yeah,
come from nowhere and built herself up, and
it's
all this
changing
sort of
the
stuff.
narrative, right?
Yeah.
So that changes the Labour Party narrative from this stumbling absolute disaster to a stumbling absolutely disaster with a female leader and hope, right? And
The only problem with that scenario, though, is what's Angela Rayner going to do with all of her houses now that she's going to have to move into number 10? Yeah, that's
Look,
the only problem there.
it's not going to solve anything, right? My view on this, because a lot of people have said to me when I was saying Keir Starmer will be gone soon, they'll be like, yeah, but you've got to worry about who's next. No, right?
It doesn't matter who's next.
Exactly. I hope it's either Angela Rayner or David Lammy. I think the worst possible scenario, and I think probably the most likely scenario, is Wes Streeting.
Me too.
Now,
I think Wes is been lining up for this for a long time.
yeah. I don't dislike him, but I don't like him. But one thing about him that I think everyone agrees on is he's a fantastic media performer.
Oh, the worst thing that
very,
Labour could have
very
done the other
polished.
week was put him on the media rounds. He was fantastic, making all
He
the
is
jokes
very
about
good. He is.
traitors and all these sorts of things.
He'll fall apart very quickly, but if you were to ask me, has he got the ability to inject some energy into the Labour Party? Absolutely, he has. It will fall apart. Because fundamentally Labour policies are not meant to succeed. They're just
And
not.
the other issue is it doesn't matter who the leader is. The civil service stay the same. You still have your private secretaries. You still have your spads. You still have the civil servants. Who I've literally physically explained this on the news before. The way it works is the minister doesn't come up with the policies. The civil service say, do you want this policy or do you want this policy? And if a minister there says, no, I want that policy you chucked in the bin 2 years ago, it's like, no, that doesn't even exist, minister. No, that you can't do that. We've looked at it. It's this one or that. The civil service run this country, and that's why it doesn't matter who the leader is at the top. But I completely agree with you. The best shot they've got is going for someone like Wes, because he would bring an energy and a spark into the Labour Party and really get them going. And also, he does get stuff done, sort of like, Michael Gove. He was a bit, no one really liked the guy, but he got things done. Wes is starting to get stuff done on the NHS.
I don't think he's tainted. I don't think he's tainted as much, and I could be corrected on this, with the previous scandals as well. I don't remember him being a headline about the freebie scandals. I don't remember him
avoid it.
Yeah, he seems to have done so. So honestly, if someone had a gun to my head and I had to choose right now, I would say Wes Streeting is the most likely. But I think Angela Rayner's got enough backbenchers to potentially steal it. Either way, like I say, it doesn't really matter. I don't, even if Wes Streeting gets in, I don't think he's going to turn around Labour's fortunes because of the policies.
I think they are a one-term government.
Absolutely.
It's whether they could do a coalition with the Lib Dems and the Greens, frankly, at the next election.
He's got more chance of saving more seats.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, hopefully, especially his own, given he only got in by a handful.
Well, exactly. That is his one negative. He's only got 400.
It reminds me of Jo Swinson. Do you remember, who said she was going to be the next prime minister and then lost her own seat to the SNP?
Yeah, he will lose his own seat.
Brilliant.
He will absolutely not be in there. So maybe that's the reason why they won't pick him, because even if he's that good, he's
got to look out for himself.
He's guaranteed to lose
the first prime minister in probably decades to lose their own seat. It would be.
Well, yeah, Keir Starmer, if he stays, he definitely will be. So,
Christmas can't come early enough.
unless of course, right, watch for this. I think it'll be pretty obvious, right, if Wes goes down to Brighton, or look, I don't think there is a single seat
coalition going on in the leadership contest.
Yeah, I honestly don't think that it matters. You could move, Wes Streeting to the most safest seat in the country, and it still won't be a safe seat for Labour right now. So
no, right. Look, gun to head. The third topic is always the guest choice. You've gone for this new Twitter X location thing. I started seeing this earlier today, and I was like, firstly, how do people do this? This is so interesting. But Can you explain what this is? Because I hadn't really thought of this before.
Well, look, I think it's great. The reason I thought it's just a light-hearted thing, as you know, to mention
Good.
this.
We need
It's
we
not
need
really.
that break from politics.
Yeah, just something a bit different. Now, people who don't know, I'm a web developer. I've been within this industry for a long time. I have to use a VPN legitimately. In fact, just this week, for example, I have a client where I've built some functionality that only
Mm,
works in the US, and it shows something different in the UK. So I use a VPN to spoof my location in the US, so I can work on a site and see what it's showing in the US.
right.
So I
So
have a
it's
very
not just to get around the Online Safety Act and to be able
That
to,
too, absolutely. It has other advantages, yes, but predominantly, I have a VPN for very legitimate
yeah.
reasons. So I've seen this. So Twitter, for those who don't know, because there is a little bit of confusion from my test that I did today. Those who don't know, Twitter have brought in a new feature which hard codes effectively your location into
Mm,
X, and you have no control. That's the point about it, right? Is you can't control it. And that means that all of these Indian bots that are pretending to be in the UK or pretending to be in the US will be exposed. And you can click on that little button and go, well, you're an Indian bot because you're in
good.
India, yet you say Ohio or something in your bot. So fundamentally, this is a very cool thing and it's a very
Good.
good idea. I think it's fantastic. However, it's definitely got bugs, right? So it doesn't properly work yet. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll caveat this with the fact that there is a difference in the rollout. So what you may have noticed if you use Twitter as much or X as much as I do is you were noticing all the Americans saying, "Oh, look what I can see," and then we just couldn't see anything.
No,
And that's
I
because
mean I'm literally on it at the moment trying to find anything, but I can't see anything yet.
you should be able to see it now. They phased that. So basically, you click on. So if you close the app and open it the app again just to make
Right.
sure.
Close the app
Um,
and open the app. Right.
Yeah, make sure it's properly closed and then reopen it. You don't need
Yep.
to log in again. You shouldn't need to. Then refresh it or check you need to update it. There might be an update that you need to do in
Right.
the App
And then
Store or
where do you
something.
go when you're on the app?
So you go to someone's bio and on their bio it will say last joined with a date and it should now be clickable and you
With a
click that.
little arrow.
Yeah, you click that and it will tell
Ah,
you.
yes. Account based in it's got yeah.
There you go. Right.
Ah.
Now, the test that I have run this morning, let me just bring up my post so I know exactly what I did.
Oh, this is gonna be
Right.
great.
So
Right.
what's been happening, and this is I think probably one of the coolest features of it, is
Angela
people have been
Rayner. Is she in
exposing
Brighton
people,
right
right?
now?
So there's an account called Reform Exposed. Have you seen this
Oh,
account?
Reform Party exposed,
I
yes.
only heard about it a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, they're basically just proper nasty trolls that attack reform or
It's in
whatever.
America.
It's in the US, right? Now there is a massive caveat coming, right? So I've been enjoying this, but I have noticed my own one, right? So I did my own couple of tests before I announced that I was doing some testing, and I could not see. So I can spoof my location properly, right? Authority level properly, sorry. And
Mm.
my location didn't change, right? So I ran some tests with X this morning, just a couple of hours ago, and these are the test results, right? So what I did is I put a post out about 2 hours ago, just saying I need to clear something up. I said to everyone, I'm based in the UK, just south of Bristol, and I'm currently using a VPN to show that I'm in Boston, USA. Can
Mm.
you send me some screenshots? Now, everyone was sending me screenshots that was showing that I was still showing as being based in the United Kingdom. Now, the way that they've added a feature that even if it shows you're in the United Kingdom and you're using a VPN, it will show a little shield icon right
Yes, it
next
says
to you.
it might not be accurate. I was seeing that
Yeah.
for a couple of
No,
people.
that's something different. So there's a little icon always there with an eye in it. That's an info icon. Now
No, but
that
the
will.
shield one.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't actually seen it yet. I've only seen it in screenshots. So
Yeah, is there one on yours? No, there's not one on
I've
yours. It was
switched
on
my VPN off now, by the way, just
right.
so you know.
The
Uh,
Reform Party exposed one has that shield.
yeah.
Country or region may not be accurate. One of our partners have indicated
Okay.
that the account may be connecting via a proxy, such as a VPN. It may not be. So I see what you mean. They are trying to bring in this sort of, well, hold on, we're not too certain, but this is what it's showing us.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
basically, I did a second test because I realised that I was still logged in on my mobile in the UK, but I've got the same VPN on my mobile for the same reasons. I use it to check sites on my mobile. So I then spoof my mobile and my desktop simultaneously, right? So I am at that point completely connected to X via a VPN. And by the way, the VPN I use is a very good one. It works properly. I've been using it for years. It really does work properly.
Yeah.
and it still shows that I'm in the UK. So here's what my test results were, right? So there's 4 points that I think people just need to be aware of when they're screenshotting other people saying, oh my God, look where this guy is. Right. So test result number 1. The location it shows is probably the location the account was originally set up in, or it was the last recorded location over an unknown time frame, right? So it's accurate, but probably accurate to when the account was set up or a last known time, number 1. Number 2, you can't just switch on a VPN and it instantly shows a different location. You can't do that. Mine was switched on for well over half an hour. I kept testing it. It still said I was in the UK. Didn't even say that I was showing it. And the next point is you can't just switch on your VPN and it instantly says that you're using a VPN, right? So basically it doesn't instantly change for anything for us yet at all. So my guess is well, the assumption you have to make is it doesn't really show you where people are at the moment. And I've been informed now that they are still working on it. So,
and the issue is, I can see a bit of a problem with this because I saw earlier this morning screenshots people had taken of people like, Donald Trump's one and had edited it clearly to say Epstein Island, and things like this. Now, I can see there being a real issue because we all know a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth's even got its pants on. Frankly, people might not believe it, but there will be those who can't be bothered to go and click and have a look for themselves.
well,
I mean, that's a ridiculous example, but imagine if you started going, we make the joke about Angela Rayner talking about Brighton or making a leadership contest. What if we did Angela Rayner at number 10 Downing Street? All these sorts of little, or Andy Burnham, the House of Law. Is there a way that maybe this could be a bit
I think you're
troublesome?
overthinking it a little bit, honestly, if I'm being polite. Look, if someone screenshots it and stuff like that, at the moment, yes, there are people who still to this day, because when I did that test, right, people were going, well, it says West Country on your profile. People don't realise that this is a new feature yet.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right.
I didn't even know where to find it.
Yeah, there will be people who don't know it's there and will believe these screenshots. However, I don't think that's anything to worry about because now people know it's there. If someone shows me a screenshot, the first thing anyone will do is check it. And if it's different, they'll know it's been edited. So I honestly don't think that's an issue. But all I'll say is it's great. It's a great feature. Just don't trust it yet.
No.
Don't trust it. Someone could be using a
because
VPN.
I saw earlier on, someone was making the argument about, there's this journalist who says the Gaza-based journalist.
Yeah.
And then they clicked on it. They're not based in Gaza, they're based in Poland.
That was the account that made me do the test. And do you know why? Because he then did a video of him actually in Gaza saying So that's why
this is why we've got to be so careful. We can't trust it yet until we know for certain it's true.
It's a great feature and it's going to work. It is just at the moment you can't start screenshotting people going, oh, look, Reform Exposed is in the US. They might not be. Actually, right, I think of all accounts that could be in the US, I do think that Reform Exposed one could be, because what I think is this VPN feature isn't available in the UK yet. And if you can click on it and see that VPN feature, there's a chance that because he's on the rollout earlier than the rest, and that means he's more than likely.
I have it right there. Reform Party Exposed with the shield. Right there. And I click on the shield and it says country or region may not be accurate.
Right. In that case, right, I think I could be completely. This is why I could be.
This is so
wrong.
Interesting. This sort of tech stuff is so cool.
But my guess, right, I'm in the UK. I'm a premium top tier user of X, probably like you, right? We're both top. If anything comes out,
you were in the X leagues a couple of weeks ago. Did you do that?
I did. Yeah, they got shut down.
People.
I was in the top. I was like 950. I was quite impressed actually. Out of 10 million, I was in the top 9.
I don't think that was true because there were some mates of mine who have absolutely nothing on their accounts. Apparently, were better than me, and I'm like, hold on. I spend my every moment of the day on Twitter.
That was actually quite accurate. It wasn't. I know how. That was. The reason there were some people going, how am I so high? The reason is because there are so many people on the app who've got like 0 followers and stuff like that. So and they will be counted in there too. It was only taken a subsection.
There's millions and millions of people with zero,
Yeah,
and then very, very few with a lot.
they banned that. And the reason that they banned that was because it was quite accurate. He was using data. He was using legit data, and he actually had an interview with X. X were almost about to take him on. Talks fell apart, and then they sent him a cease and desist letter. So he had to, so that means he was doing the right thing, right? If you get sent a cease and desist, that probably means you've created an accurate app, and they're just going to nick it. But the point is you just cannot use that yet. My guess is, by the way, with that reform exposed, if they've got a VPN, I could be wrong, and he might be in the UK, but if he's got that VPN functionality, which I have not got, the chances are it's more likely that account is in the USA.
Then they're actually where it was rolled out earlier.
But it might also be that they're in a part of the country that gets it before everyone else, which I think is unlikely. I think
look, I think the most important thing that people have got to do is make sure that they like and subscribe to any of my sorts of things so I can get back up in the leaderboard. Because if it is accurate, then I'm furious and I'm going to be very angry with Elon. Look, Lee, thank you so much. Where can people find you, obviously, other than Twitter?
Well, you can find me on Twitter, Addicted2News with a two and a Z, although I might change that with this new feature thing coming up where you can change your handle. You can see me occasionally on GB News. I might be on there, I should be on there next weekend. And I'm on BBC Radio. I do Radio 5 live. I do their pay-per-view every other weekend.
Awesome.
But honestly, because I'm quite busy, I struggle keeping Twitter up to date, let alone all these other social media platforms. So people can predominantly find me on X, gobbing off. That's the best place to find me. And I have a link tree on my X, which shows you all my other social medias anyway. So you can find me there.
Well, look, Lee, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really am grateful. It's been great fun to chat. You've taught me so much now about this feature. I'm going to spend the rest of the day, fiddling around with it and seeing what I can do. Look, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Get involved in the conversation. Make sure that you drop me a follow and Lee a follow so we can rise up in those leaderboards. Maybe they should bring out like an actual leaderboard thing in the app so you can see where everyone is. But look, from me, from everyone, goodbye, enjoy. This is Matthew's Blueprint for Britain. We hope we've given you a bit of sense of, talking common sense, at least. That's the main thing. And a bit of hope that things might get better. They might not. But at the moment, just don't trust where anyone ever actually is because we don't have any idea. Right. See everyone soon.